All right, we are back. 12 o'clock on the dot. Um, the boys are back. AM CMSV show, episode 9. The once a week thing really throws me off. It feels like we've been doing this for so much longer than 9 episodes, but I guess this is kind of just how the semester works. As always, got the AM duo. Got Adam. Obviously, I'm Adam. Right there, you got the boy Matty Ice, Matthew Pincus, however we do this.
However you want.
What's good, brother? How you doing?
Doing good. No, it was a nice week. Not for the Rangers, but me and Adam both wound up going to the Rangers-Canes game. So we're gonna get into that a little bit during the Rangers rant. But that was a really good time. Rangers didn't win, but MSG was electric. It was a good time.
I got a lot on that actually because it was my first. Sorry, stupid. Now this thing, it was fine. The last half hour we're in here and pre-show, no issues. Now it wants to start acting up. Yeah, it definitely was a interesting experience. I got a few takeaways. Well, I guess we'll just kind of hop right into it. I guess before we get going, we'll kind of, as always, get the Rangers rant. The Rangers rant will probably be a little bit longer this week just because we both have a lot to say about the Ranger-Canes game. I got the Mets minute. The Mets are off to a fiery start. Had some interesting antics in yesterday's game, so I definitely got to talk about that a little bit. Today's the first day of the NFL draft too, and exactly. It's big time thumbs down, like boring. So we'll have to basically, if we have time, I'll get to my notes on that. But basically, my notes are it's super boring. And then this week we get the top 5 comebacks in sports. Now, before we get there, I got 2 off the top of my head. Normally, the person who sits in this chair does 1, 3, and 5. I couldn't do that this week. I got 2 good ones. Luckily, Matt had the rest, so we got that all squared away. But we're gonna hop right into the Canes Rangers. So for those of you that don't know, I have a really good family friend. We grew up 6 houses away from each other. He's on the Carolina Hurricanes. This is year 7 for him in the NHL. With the COVID years and everything, I haven't gone to obviously, they play New York pretty frequently. They just came off a week and a half New York road trip. But my first time going to the Garden this year, and being an opposing fan in the Garden is something that I don't know if I wish everyone should experience or if I wish everyone couldn't experience for their own safety. Dude, it was electric. First of all, the Garden was absolutely rocking. Big playoff implications. It was basically the closest you're going to get to a playoff game in the regular season. Canes were down their 2 best goalies. Their starting goalie and their backup goalie are both hurt. So they got a rook in there.
Played great though.
Yeah, he did play great. It was a slow first period, 0-0. Canes immediately kind of took it up a notch. I think it was 2-1, 3-1 at the end of the second, and then they ended up winning 4-3. The Hurricanes cannot score empty net goals. It's just they're going to be their kryptonite this year. But a few notes from the game. Matt's obviously gone to a lot of Ranger games this year, so how was the Garden compared to other regular season games? Was it like amped up a notch, or was it just like that's just how it's been this year?
I mean, recently I've been to, I think it's 6 games this year. I had a streak going. They won every game. Of course, I went to this game, not thinking the Rangers, not knowing the Rangers are going to win. Some of the games I went to this year, against Philadelphia Flyers, that's an easy one.
Easy chalk up.
But, the last couple of games I went to, the last 3 were the Caps, the Penguins, and the Canes. All 4 playoffs teams for the Metro. I have to say the Caps game was electric. Also a good crowd there. The Pens game, that was an absolute blowout. We destroyed them. That was probably the craziest I've ever seen in the Garden. If the Rangers wound up winning this game, it would have been a different story. Even in the third period, when we scored that second goal, the building, it came out of nowhere, but the building just absolutely erupted as soon as the puck hit the ground inside the net. I sadly did not get to see the Lafreniere goal make it 4-3. I was already out trying to get the earliest train back to the Bronx. But I can only imagine what that was like getting, to that one goal. But, they didn't have enough They don't die, though. That's one thing I've seen with the Rangers in the last couple of years. Whatever coach is in there, they really don't give up towards the end of the games. They really hunker down, and, they play their hardest in the third period. A couple of weeks ago, we had one of the best third period plus or minuses in the league. Pretty sure it's still up there. A little bit of a skid. We're on a 3-game losing streak right now, but
it's tough, too. Yeah. Tough time of a losing streak right before the playoffs. And not even that. They play 3 games in 4 games. Like, they're off today. They play Tuesday, Wednesday, and they play Friday. Just an overall, interesting game. So I went with my boy and my girl, and she had never been to a hockey game before. Never mind MSG, never mind a Ranger game. I've put her in hurricane gear. I got it extra. So she was, and then basically as soon as the Hurricanes scored their first goal, me and my boy we jumped up right away. And you could look around the garden, and you could see maybe the 15, 20 Hurricanes fans that were outwardly cheering. In between periods, I went to the bathroom, and there was probably, I feel like I saw 40, 50 Hurricanes fans. Everyone, when you're the away fan of the home arena, you get fist pounds. Everyone's yo, go Canes, and then you got those weird security guards oh, dude, the merch store's over there. Go get merch. Dude, I'm wearing the opposite team's gear. It's okay. Dude, I almost wore my Mets hat too, and that would have just confused everyone. Why? How are you a Carolina fan and a Mets fan? It's I don't know. So I left the Mets hat at home. Yeah, I was just rocking, but it was crazy. And as soon as the Hurricanes scored their first goal, me and my boy went nuts. My girl stayed in her seat. She was I'm scared. And then when the Hurricanes scored their goal, not the Hurricanes, the Rangers scored their first goal to make it 2-1. Obviously, it was her first hockey game, so she didn't really know what it was like. That place erupted. Everyone jumps on their feet. We're the only 3 sitting down in our area, obviously the Rangers the Rangers goal song is awesome.
Yeah, I do.
It really is. As an unbiased, I've been to a few arenas. I'd say I've probably been to about 7 or 8 hockey games throughout the country, whether I'm in DC, Philly, whatever. There's just no way around it. The Hurricanes are the best goal song. The place goes nuts. It is funny, how they show the Hurricanes replay goal one time, and it's goal, booze, maybe 20 seconds later the puck is dropped. The Rangers score a goal. It feels like it's 2 minutes between goal and puck drop because, yeah, it is absolutely electric. But I guess before the game, there was, Matt will talk about this a little bit, but anyone who knows New York NYPD or New York, anything about New York Police Department history, and a little bit, I guess it has a little bit to do with the Rangers, the Steve Mcdonald Award. So his mother and his son were in the arena. McDonald's a diehard Ranger fan. He died in 2017, but I'm pretty sure he was injured in line of duty in 12 or 13. I think he had a foot post outside of the Garden. Basically, everyone knew him. So, it was definitely a very emotional night in the Garden. You could tell. They presented Kreider with the award. First of all, Kreider without his beard was good.
Baby Kreids.
Maybe, he should have kept his playoff beard going a little bit before the season because, holy shnikes, he looked like a baby. I didn't even recognize him at first. Just an overall electric game. But so I was sitting with my boy, and our plan was to leave at 5 o'clock. 5 minutes left in the game. I drove in. Because it's no easy way to get to MSG from where I'm at. So we drove down, got in the garage. But once the game ends, it's a mass exodus for the gates. Everyone wants to get out. Then you're stuck in traffic and yada yada yada. So we're all right. If it's still 4-1, we're gonna leave. 5 minutes left because. Obviously, crazy things happen in hockey, but we didn't think anything like that. I would say 5:25 left in the third period. Rangers score a goal, make it 4-2. Then they pull their goalie. And it's 4-3 with about 1:15 left. And then it felt like that was the longest 1:15 of my life. They were just flying back and forth. Puck was going. Yeah, and the Rangers just never die. They don't die. It's kind of similar to what I'm going to talk about a little bit with the Mets in a little bit, but they have some chip on their shoulder and they will not go away. and I guess I don't know who you get praise to that for, whether it's the coach, the captain, Kreider. But I mean, Kreider scored his 52nd. Place went nuts. Just like overall, the Garden was electric.
Definitely agree with that. But like you said, captain, who comes to mind? Other than Chris Kreider, no one. I think they have to give him the C for the playoff starts. That would really get the rest of the troops
right?
going.
Yeah, I forgot we talked about that before.
Yeah, they got to give him the C at this point. Having the year that he had. Next year, there's no way that he's having the production that he had this year. No. He might have a good year, 20, 30 plus, but there's no way he's hitting 50 again. He's just like what you said. Who do you attribute this "don't die" attitude towards? It's been happening a couple years now. We weren't the best team, but we didn't lay down and die in any of those games. There was never a Rangers tank. Shout out Buffalo. But it's just a collective effort. One guy who's been there throughout the years, Chris Kreider, he exemplifies that. And in the game yesterday against Montreal, won the first ever Rod Gilbert Mr. Ranger Award, which this is what it says, who best honors Rod's legacy by exemplifying leadership qualities both on and off the ice, making a significant humanitarian contribution to his community. So Kreider gets the sweep of the Rangers Awards this year. First ever Rod Gilbert Mr. Ranger Award and the Stephen Mcdonald Extra Effort Award. That just screams captain to me. And I think on the outside it's very apparent that too. But, I was hoping in the last couple of games we didn't get bit with the injury bug. During the Canes game, Artemi Panarin and Andrew Kopp are flying out there first period. And in the second period, I saw them once. And then all of a sudden, where'd they go? Check my phone. Both of them were out for the rest of the game with injuries. Thank God, Panarin's okay. Kopp is okay now. Kaapo played last night. And just a side note, Georgiev is horrible. Horrible. I didn't get to watch most of the game. I turned it on in the third period. And, 2 minutes later, Georgiev gives up a horrible goal to the short side. There's a couple of games this season where, that catcher's glove for a goalie has got to be the best spot you want shooters to shoot at just because you have total control over that. Georgiev just gets beat on the glove side so often. Everywhere else he's decent. Against the Canes, he had an amazing game. But, there's just those mental lapses that you can't have, especially in the playoffs. So hopefully Benoit Lair gets on him a little bit. Especially with the way Shesterkin is playing. If this guy even wants to stay with the Rangers, he's got to step it up. But, you just can't give up. With 30 seconds left in the game, giving up a weak short side goal, it just can't happen.
Few other things. So, obviously, Georgiev seems to be horrible every game except the one game that we talked about, the Hurricanes game a few weeks back. A few things on the Garden chance, and maybe you can, as a real diehard Ranger fans, you can enlighten me on this. One, I thought it's really funny that you go from Henrik to Igor. Very easy for the fans to pick up. I thought New York was a little bit more clever than that. Come on with it. I know you're not going to chant his last name, but
Shesterkin.
Exactly.
So weird.
could figure something out. It's awesome for whoever the piano player is, like Igor, whatever. Last one is. What is it? Hartman sucks. What are they?
Oh no, Potvin. Yeah, Islanders player from when I wasn't even a thought.
Exactly. So, what percentage of people in the arena know who that is? Know what that reference is to? Like, you think we can move on from that a little bit?
Oh no, I definitely agree with this. A couple. I've been to like 6 games this season. And a couple of my friends from here, they're like, "Oh, should we do the Potvin sucks chant?" I'm like, dude, we're playing the Philadelphia Flyers. This has nothing to do with the Islanders. Potvin was a good player for the Islanders, hated by the Rangers. Just let it go.
Yeah, it was like it seems like that's the only they do that in the first period, and then they do it like when they don't have anything else to cheer for.
Exactly.
Like there was just like a few guys. It does kind of get like a little like everyone does it, but no one knows what they're doing it for. I thought it was very funny. My girlfriend was like, "What are they saying?" I was like, I don't even know. I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know why they do it. It's like no one here knows. I would say like 15% of the people know who that is or know the story behind it. They just like know how to cheer.
They know the cheer, exactly.
Exactly. It's just like, woo, this is what we do.
I don't even know specifically why that's a thing, but I'm sure my dad could tell you. All the diehards, I'm sure, can tell you. But there's also that certain percentage that has gone to games and they just know the whistle once they hear it. Pot Vin sucks.
Yeah, but exactly. Like, let's move on from that and whatever. Another little sucks chant thing that I was dying laughing at was so the Hurricanes are basically like Rangers South. They have like 7 or 8 former Ranger players, Brady Shea, but most importantly, Tony DeAngelo. Now, he had a very ugly exit from New York. Not all of that was hockey related, and we're not going to talk about that. But it was funny. When the Hurricanes won their first power play, he pretty much runs a power play from the defensive perspective. When he gets the puck, the place erupts in boos. It's almost like pretty funny. Like I was laughing at it. I'm sure he's laughing at it too. Like he doesn't care. He's he got a multi-million-dollar contract to go to Carolina, and he got paid out of his Rangers one. So he doesn't care that they're booing him. But it was just funny as like the game progressed and the Hurricanes lead got bigger and bigger. Like maybe it went from the entire arena doing the boo to maybe like 100 people like boo, like so soft. Yeah.
I personally am not with the DeAngelo boos. I was a big DeAngelo fan when he played for the Rangers. I was saying this to a bunch of my friends. I had some choice words for the people around me who were booing DeAngelo. But I was saying if we never made that Adam Fox trade to get him, who's our number one defenseman? Yeah. It would be Tony DeAngelo right now. So, I'm not really with the DeAngelo boos. A New York kid came to play for his hometown team, didn't end up the way he wanted it to, with some off the ice casualties. But one good thing I have to say DeAngelo did was he punched Georgiev in the face. Love that. That's where another thing where Kreider steps up and shows his captain qualities.
Is that what happened?
Yeah. He like punched Georgiev in the face after the game or something. Started screaming, and Kreider came up to him and just
give him the boot.
Yeah, gave him the boot. Was outie, but
listen, we all know how the world was the last like 2 or 3 years. Like it seemed like everyone was just so broken. Their brains were broken, and whether they were right or left, it doesn't matter. Everyone was just so like hostile and unreasonable that I think that was like a big product of it, and especially being in New York where that's magnified by like 100 billion. You're playing in front of a sellout crowd every single night. It was just funny. But my point about that was just how it got quieter and quieter throughout the game. Like, that is just exactly the kind of energy we needed. And the thing with the Hurricanes was that, like, in terms of the actual game, is that every time the Rangers kind of seemed like they were going to inch back into it for the first, 45 minutes, Hurricanes answered right away. I did text Pincus. I was like, yo, if my boy scores, like, I expect to see you cheering. And he said he would. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. I think he was like +2 or +3, but that's besides the point. Anytime he had the puck, I was on my feet. I was ready to go. I was ready to go nuts. Yeah, it was. I love hockey. I love watching playoff hockey. And then last night I went to the Yankee game. I went from the sellout Garden electric playoff atmosphere to the Yankee game where they put the Baltimore Orioles. Jordan Montgomery was pitching. The Orioles' best pitcher is hurt. They got one good player. It was maybe 30 degrees. We were sitting in 310. It was actually like a great seat, but it was just freezing. And like they did the national anthem, and it felt like maybe 500 people were there. No one even sang it. And I was like, wow, like what a difference in the two worlds right now. And obviously, it's the beginning of the baseball season versus the end of the hockey season, but it was just like. From going back to back was just nothing. What else you got on the Rangers? Anything?
Please, no one get injured against the Caps. Honestly, this might be a hot take. I'd rather throw the game and play the Capitals in the playoffs. Ovechkin at the moment is hurt. Even when he comes back, he's not going to be up to the game speed that he should be. I'd take a semi-injured Ovechkin over Malkin, Crosby, and Jari.
See, I think I'd rather the Hurricanes play Pittsburgh because we've tangled with Washington in the playoffs before. I think we won the most recent one, but they're they're a scary team to play. Like they all play with an extra chip. Ovi in the playoffs is actually like a psychopath. Like, I was messing with Sawyer about how the goalies are psychopaths. No. The Russian whose country is under attack in the playoffs is gonna be a psychopath. And that I've seen them flying around. They all seem like they hit a little bit harder. Shots are a little bit quicker. Atmosphere is a little bit more nice or more intense. But the big thing is that the Canes locked up the Metro. They have home ice for both rounds. So
yeah, it's gonna be big for them.
They that's gonna need that. Even though they won Game 7 in 2018 on the road in DC, but we need home ice. We need home ice down in Raleigh.
Yeah. Also, quick note, I just thought of this. This is the first time all 8 playoff teams in the Eastern Conference are above 100 points, and God knows how long. But, that's just to show the discrepancy between the East and the West in hockey. Usually in a lot of the sports in the U.S., the West sends to get better players because it's nicer out there. The weather is beautiful, but,
Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. Give me the Northeast edge, 10 out of 10.
I agree. I don't know if that's biased being from the Northeast, but
it's 100% biased. And if you can't admit that it's biased, then you just don't know what's going on. But 100%, it was. Yeah, I mean, that's what makes the Northeast so great. That's what makes Northeast sports fans so great. Anyone who has gone elsewhere and come back to New York, or Boston or Philly. I mean, even Philly sucks in everything basically right now, and Philly sports fans they're a great sports town. New York. The only thing that sucks about New York is that all the teams are split. Like, if we had one, united, city rooting for a fan, it'd be very different. But, I don't know. You can't care about sports when it's 75 degrees out every day and you can just go to the beach instead of watching your team lose. No, I want to be cooped up when it's dark at 4:30, and I want to be living and dying by, the Rangers or the Bruins or whatever the case may be. That's just the only way to possibly go about this. All right.
Mets Minute.
Where do I begin? First of all, let's start with the good. Mets have won 6 straight series to start the year. I can't remember the last time that happened. They beat up on some bad teams, Diamondbacks twice, Phillies, Nationals. They beat the Giants, which was huge. We talked about that last week. But this week, they played the Cardinals. The Cardinals are obviously not obvious to anyone that would listen to this or even know me, but the Cardinals are my least favorite team. It goes Cardinals, then Yankees, because the Cardinals stole 2006 from me. I would have won the World Series in 2006. I would have been a 9-year-old champion. Instead, I'm a 25-year-old loser. We beat the living daylights. Okay, I can't even say we beat the living daylights out of them. We were down 2-0 in the top of the 9th, 2 outs down to your last strike. On what was it? Had to have been Monday night. The ball gets to Nolan Arenado. 7 consecutive Gold Gloves. Undoubtedly the best fielder in Major League Baseball. Error. 2-1. Then Dom Smith gets a hit. He gets an infield hit where 2 guys score because the pitcher wasn't covering. Mets take the lead 3-2. Brandon Nimmo hits a home run 5-2. Come back down from their last strike to win the game and score 5 runs in the top of the 9th to win. You want to talk about a team not dying like the Rangers? This team doesn't die. This team plays 27 hard outs. That's really all you can ask for. Then they win the next game on Wednesday or on Tuesday. Now, the Mets have been hit 22 times as hitters this year, as batters. 22 times they've been hit with the ball by a pitcher. Leads the league by far. We got Lindor hit in the face. Alonso hit in the face. All of our superstar franchise players getting hit in the face. Tensions are high. There's no doubt about it. It's this. And then last night, Mets are losing 10-5, bottom of the 8th. Nolan Arenado, the ball gets a little bit close to his face. Doesn't hit him. Doesn't get hit. Just brushes past his face. No. If you wanted to hit him, he was going to hit him. If you wanted to brush him back a little bit, whatever. Nolan Arenado, big tough guy who made the error on Monday, has some few words about it. Next thing you know, bench is clearing, bro.
Love to see that.
Baseball needs more benches clearing brawls. However, they need more brawls that are actual brawls. Listen, there's this coach for the Cardinals. I didn't even want to look up his name because if I looked up his name, then I'd make jokes and then I'd say something I don't want to say. Shout out the nuns. Hi, nuns. You can't be a coach and touch a player. You can't be a coach and be a tough guy and tackle someone from behind. Hitting from behind is illegal in every sport. It's illegal in football. It's illegal in hockey, even though they missed a few calls on Tuesday about hitting in the back, but that's a different story. Hitting in the back is a coward move. You want to fight someone? Fight them face to face. Don't pull a cheap shot from the back. And then there's this big, tough first base coach or third base coach. He's bald, balder than me. For me to make fun of a bald guy, he's got to be really bald. Things like shaved nice and tight. And he's just taking down our franchise player by the back. Now Pete was getting some some slack for his comments. He's like, if I want to put someone in the hospital, I'll put him in the hospital. He's being a little tough guy. Listen, I don't blame him. The guy's got hit in the face 4 times this year. These guys hit the ball 6 times. It's just what are we doing? I don't know if it has to do with no sticky substances, so they have no grip, whether the balls are just different. There's a lot of conversation about the actual baseball this year and how they're dead. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is the Mets have won 6 straight series. They're up. They're winning the NL East right now. It's a long season. We're still in April, but things feel a little bit different. And then I guess my last note on this is that I love Buck Showalter. I was very hesitant. They got an old manager. Baseball seems to be a little bit of we're taking a turn toward the modern young guys, analytics, numbers, like computers make decisions for you. Buck doesn't really, when you see this guy, he doesn't really seem doesn't scream I read computers all day. But one thing I do know for sure is that dude rides and dies for his team. Every time the Mets, there's a ball close to the Mets when they're hitting, the first camera shot is Buck Showalter. He's literally basically on the field already. He's on the top step. He's ready to go. He was the first one out in Washington when they had their little scuffle. It's just overall, it's been a fun year to root for the Mets. Now they're off today. Start a 3-game series with Philly tomorrow. We got to keep chipping away. We can't be losing series. Give me 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 every series we play, and we're gonna have a good year. I'm excited, and I say that very cautiously optimistic, because being excited as a Mets fan has never been the best. No, never been the best result. And the Yankees are not good, so I always have that to lean back on. Anything on the Mets you want? I know you saw the brawl. What'd you think? You see the guy jump over the bullpen wall?
That was the first thing I saw. I didn't actually get to watch the brawl until probably an hour ago. We were sitting here. I was like, did you see that? Of course, Adam was watching the game. But, I had to see it for myself. I was talking to my dad yesterday about it. But that first clip that I saw from this, I didn't even know what happened yet. I'm on Instagram just going home, and, I see this picture just vault over this wall. It looked like some Assassin's Creed kind of parkour. It was absolutely insane. And then, I was a little interested after that. Why is this guy jumping over the wall? Is he that hyped that he's pitching in, the 8th inning? No, brawl. So, I watched the video. Again, like what you were saying, baseball needs more brawls, but more actual brawls, not just everyone running out there and just standing there holding their teammates back.
And that's the best part about
hold me back.
Exactly. That's the best part about baseball brawls is that bullpens are so there's the dugout, which is on the first base or third base line. That's where most of the team is. But then the relief pitchers are out in the outfield warming up. And that's where they hang out. Relievers are their own different. They're their own people. They hang out there. So when they need to warm up, they have an area to warm up. It is so funny when bullpens clear because but they're what are they, 350 feet away from home plate, if not more. Sometimes they're 375 or 380. Someone's gonna open the door for them. Then they all gotta run down, and the bullpens are running like adjacent to each other. Like everyone's trying to meet at like the pitcher's mound or home plate, whatever the case may be. It's just like by the time they get there, it's almost over if it even started. Just like overall funny. But so the guy who jumped the wall, first of all, that guy is the reason why the Mets won the series because he didn't cover first base on the Dom Smith single the other day. So I'm very grateful for that. Cardinals fans were even mad at him because he's like, where was that energy covering first base on Monday night? And I was like, hell yeah, like Cardinals fans go after him. I don't mind because we caught the win for it. But I mean, just overall, like, such a funny visual. And like I really needed that guy to fall because he would have hopped the fence and then like stumbled over and like fell on his hip and then got up and went all the way down. It would have been so much better. But yeah, I mean, the guy just couldn't wait for the door to be open. And yeah, I'm sure he didn't even like. He got there. He probably just stood there in a circle, like patted the Mets guy on the back that he knows, and then he like had to walk all the way back out there. It's like if the bullpens want to fight, like meet in center field and fight out there. Like, don't run all the way there and then run all the way back. It's just like, oh yeah.
I have to say though, one of the funniest things that came out of this, I was watching the brawl on YouTube, and the cameraman goes from the big scruffle like right in front of home plate, and he pans it out, and he watched the catchers running from the bullpen.
Oh.
Some of those guys are big dudes. Watching them hit top speed was hilarious.
Yeah, those bullpen catchers. First of all, if I had to have like one job associated with Major League Baseball, I'd love to be a bullpen catcher because you travel with a team. You obviously are invested in the team, but like you never have to play, you never got to take an at bat. I'm never standing there, trying to hit a 95 mile per hour fastball or like a 82 mile per hour slider that looks like it's gonna hit me in the head and then it's a strike. Like, I just want to sit back there, catch the guys warming up, fire them up a little bit, like, hey, let's go, you got this, and then just let them go. Or like, I mean, being a pitcher is awesome. Like working once every 5 days, those are like kind of the two spots. But being a bullpen catcher just seems like the dream. But yeah, I mean, most of the time they're like 45-year-old coaches. Their knees barely work. Like they got to get down there. They got to catch a few balls like for probably 10 minutes, and they take a rest, have a beer, and then they do it again. Yeah, that was like one of the funnier stories to come out of that was like the Red Sox in like 15 or 16, like they would just drink beer and eat fried chicken out of the bullpen. That was what they did. Sounds awesome. But yeah, baseball is definitely like an old head sport. Like, yeah, I can rip a beer and a cigarette in the clubhouse. Like, you know what? It's not gonna stop me. I don't have to be in top shape.
That's great. One thing you were saying though, I think the best two positions in sports: backup quarterback in the NFL, and bullpen catcher in the MLB. Because you're getting paid. I don't even want to know how much they get paid because it probably make me very sad. But just to sit out there, be involved in the sports world, not really do much, and you're getting paid millions. Sign me up.
Yeah, bullpen catchers probably make like, I don't know, knowing the way they play MLB, they play minor leaguers, it's probably like absolutely like criminal, and our parents probably make more than the bullpen catcher, but it's just like more going back and forth. But yeah, backup quarterback, but you want to be like, I want to be like Tom Brady's backup, or someone who, like a backup of like someone where I know like I'm never gonna have to go in unless someone gets like hurt, and then when someone gets hurt, then they sign someone else, and I'm back to it being a backup. Like Blue Mountain State, what's that guy's name?
That's literally the reason why I want to be a backup quarterback. Whoa.
That's gonna be our next top five. Is top 5 sports shows. We did sports movies, but now we gotta do sports shows. I guess we'll just hop right into the top 5 now. I mean, I have one note of the NFL draft is that it's going to be so boring. Like, there's no quarterbacks. Just have 2 picks, 3 and 10, or 4 and 10 in the first round. No, not obviously in the first 10 picks, and like, it's a quarterback-driven league. It's a quarterback-driven draft, and like, can you tell me any of the quarterbacks as a casual?
I couldn't even tell you one player that's in the draft right now.
That says all you need to know. Like, there's no Trevor Lawrences. Even like Zach Wilson, like he had some hype. Like, next year's draft's gonna be a lot better. But normally NFL draft is like a very exciting day in the sports world. Thursday night, you got 4 minutes per pick, like get the national TV coverage, and now it's just like
whatever.
There's no surefire number one guy, and that's like what kind of changes everything. And obviously, no quarterback. All right, top 5s. This week, our top 5 is top 5 biggest comebacks. Well, all right, I'll let you start with 5. We'll just go right into it.
So 5, I would say, would be the only semi-controversial one. it's not a comeback in the sense of, getting back and winning the game, coming from behind. But this is just I would say it's like a feel-good story. I'm not an Anaheim Ducks fan by any stretch of the imagination. I hate the Devils, so I'll give it to that. But 2003, Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, Paul Kariya, it's called Off the Floor, on the boards, gets hit by the captain of the New Jersey Devils, Scott Stevens. Late hit, hits him right in the head with his shoulder. Paul Kariya gets knocked out. He's laying on the ice with his hands just straight up. You can see his breath fogging up the visor that he has on his helmet. And it looks like the guy died. He's down on the floor for like 3-4 minutes. The training staff comes out, escort him to the locker room, and probably maybe 5-10 minutes later, Paul Kariya comes back on the bench, and then 2 minutes later, and probably his first shift back, comes down the ice on a 2-on-1 rush, sends an absolute piss missile into the top right corner past Marty Brodeur.
What a fucking phrase, piss missile. Sorry,
and they wound up winning the game, but it was 5-2, I think, was the final score. He must have scored like the third or the fourth goal. But, not a traditional comeback in the sense of, coming back from a lead and, winning the game. But, the guy was knocked out on the ice. Looked like he was about to die. And then 5 minutes later comes back and just scores an absolute rocket of a goal. Paul Kariya, I'll give you number 5 on this list.
Number 4. Now, everyone knows I'm not a big NBA guy. However, this series sparked the biggest memes. It still gets talked about to date. The Golden State Warriors blew a 3-1 lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
To LeBron.
Well, they had Kyrie too. That was the year Kyrie was there. Kyrie hit the big shot in Game 7. But Golden State Warriors were up 3-1. Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. I know KD wasn't there yet, but up 3-1. They would go up 2-1, then 3-1, and then proceed to lose the next 3 games, including Game 7 at home to the Cleveland Cavaliers, which is just like an overall insane story. I'm not a big LeBron fan. That's probably an understatement. However, LeBron finally bring one in Cleveland. Kyrie hit the big shot, just like crazy. And the Golden State Warriors were, I think that was the year they set the league record for wins. They were like 72-10 or 73-9. I forget whatever it was. Just an absolutely filthy team and an all-time championship collapse. So you can either use that as like a collapse or a comeback. I'm going to go with the comeback, the positive side of it.
All right, getting into number 3 on the list. Philadelphia Flyers 2010 semis. They're down 3-0 to the Bruins. They win the next 3 games, force a Game 7. In the first period of Game 7, they go down 3-0 and then come back to win the game and the series 4-3. Going on to eventual cup run, getting absolutely shafted by Patrick Kane and the no goal. But, that's just like an absolutely insane comeback. It's kind of funny that, they're down 3-0 in the series and then in Game 7, and then, they win both of them 4-3.
Was it the last time the Flyers were relevant? I feel like they probably had a few years after that. But
that was the farthest they've gone in a while. But, they're always, until this year, they were always like a decent team. Claude Giroux leading the way for them. Always a good team, tough to play in Philadelphia, but that was just an absolutely insane season. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not wrong, I remember watching this as a 10-year-old. On the last day of the season, I'm pretty sure, Philadelphia played at the Rangers and beat them in a shootout to go into the playoffs. So that's just like an insane little run that they had, being the absolute last team to be in the playoffs and then going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Props to him for that.
I think that happens in hockey a good amount. A few 8 seeds always run their way through. It all depends if you get a hot goalie. Number 2. Now, this could have been number 1. If it were my list, it would have been number 1. But I could only come up with 2 comebacks, so that's why it's number 2. Patriots come back from 28-3. The 2017 Super Bowl, so it was actually the 2016 season. coming back and absolutely ripping the hearts out of the Atlanta Falcons. 28-3, they were down with it was 4 or 5 minutes left in the third quarter. And listen, I know Tom Brady won a lot of Super Bowls before that. He's won some since with a different team. But that to me is where Tom Brady fully became immortalized, because that guy does not know how to lose. Comes all the way back. 25 points, that's 4 scores in the NFL. That's no. And they needed a bunch of things to go right. The Falcons needed to do a little bit of choking themselves, which of course the Falcons have never been the same since this game. They never will be. They traded Matt Ryan, but just to come back from 20-3, they won 34-28 in overtime. So what was it? 31 unanswered points in about 17 minutes of game time. Absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, the Patriots have never been. The Falcons have never been the same since, and the Patriots were fully and that was all Brady, man. Brady just got immortalized after that. People gave him all the hype about a defense and this and that. That dude just knows how to win, and he wins big.
Agreed. So going on to number 1, bear with me here. La Remontada. I don't know. Basically, one of the biggest comebacks I've ever seen. Barcelona in the Champions League was down 4-0 in the first leg. So how the Champions League works, there's 2 games, and the winner on aggregate over the 2 legs then advances. This year they changed it, but there used to be an away goal rule. So, let's say the Rangers are playing at the Canes for game 1. We scored 2 goals. The Canes scored 2 goals. Now we're both equal on away goals. 2-2 at the away stadium. So that played a big part in it. But, coming back from 4-0 to eventually win 6-1, just absolutely absurd. I hate Barcelona with all the passion in my heart. They go up there with the New Jersey Devils and the Islanders. But, just seeing that win, and, you could feel the emotion through YouTube. I'm watching it on my computer. I watched it this morning, and it still sends chills down my spine. And I hate them with a passion, but just watching that come back and the whole city being behind them, it was really just absolutely wild. When PSG wound up scoring that only goal they had in the second leg, it looked like Barcelona was out, because now you have to score, instead of having the 2 goals that you did score, now you got to score 4 more. And right at the end of the game, Neymar crosses it in. Sergi Roberto just, sticks out a leg, and it winds up going in the net, and the whole place went berserk.
Soccer stadiums are awesome. I've never been to a soccer game. I probably never will be. Maybe I'll go to one in Europe, if I ever make it out there. But yeah, listen, I was just describing MSG as nuts. I can't imagine 150,000 soccer fans going absolutely berserk. Especially I don't know how I feel about that system. I guess you just said it's out. They took it out.
Yeah, now it's just
thing, but I don't know. I'd love a good excuse to run up the score on someone. Baseball's got all these. Everyone cries about unwritten rules and all that stuff. There was a fight the other day about was trying to score a 7th run when you're only up 6, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world. But yeah, I love a good excuse to run up the score on someone. So sounds cool. All right, that's it for this week. CMSV show. We will be back next Thursday, 12 o'clock Eastern, the usual. Matt will be back in the chair. We will have playoff draws, right? We should know. When it'll start too, right? Or will it start? Probably not.
Yeah. Honestly, no. I think it should start. I don't think they give them more than a week off.
Right. So we'll know exactly where we're playing, and that's when we can get playoff hockey, baby. It's nothing quite like it.
So excited.
We're gonna. If you have a top 5, put it in the comments of the video. Let us know what you think we should do. We're open to suggestions. Or if you're listening and you have mine or Matt's number, just text us and we'll definitely run it. Hopefully the Mets keep winning. Hopefully, listen, we need a Canes. It won't be Canes Rangers because they're the 1 and 2 seeds. So in the Metro. So we
can be in the second round though.
Second round. So we have 4 weeks left of this show. No, less than that. We'll see. Maybe it's possible. Imagine our last episode is that. If our last episode is that, and in New York, if there's any games in New York, we might have to take a a traveling podcast. We'll take our microphones. We'll see if Bobby can hook it up and get us. We'll do a show at MSG as our like final culminating episode. That'd be awesome if that actually happened.
That would be ended off with a bang.
You wouldn't be able to hear any of us because it'd be so loud in the arena with the mics, but it'd be cool. So we'll have to figure that out. All right, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it.
See you next week.
Peace.